Abby would play your music so much our first year of marriage. I was like, sweetie, can we play something else?
The name Donna Summer didn't mean anything to me. Even when we started dating, people were like, do you know her mom is Donna Summer? I was like, you know my mom's Marisol Ramirez?
Yeah, he didn't care about that.
Give my mom
no,
a
I didn't
shout
know.
out. Was there anyone in your circle that gave you bad advice?
My mom gave me wedding night advice.
God.
Oh,
Somebody pulled me aside and said, I know you're a good girl, but you know for him you're going to have to be slutty sometimes. Like, why are you telling me this?
From the outside looking in, Johnnyswim might seem like they have the perfect marriage. They were the soundtrack to our young married life, but we were shocked to hear that they've been through their fair share of hardship. In recent years, Amanda's health declined to a point where she thought she was going to die. And on top of that, Abner faced the worst depression of his life. We talk about all this and so much more in today's episode. Welcome back to the Unplanned podcast. Today we are joined by one of, honestly, our favorite music groups of all time, Johnnyswim. Let's give it up.
Keep lying, baby.
No, it's actually so true.
Oh, come on.
I didn't want to embarrass Abby, but I'll say it right now. Like, Abby would play your music so much our first year of marriage.
I'm so sorry.
It's like, Abby, I know Johnnyswim's music is so good, but sweetheart, like, can we play something else? I was like, you're playing, like,
I love you.
I know every lyric. I know.
Can I explain something? I don't even like music. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not like a music lover. Like, I would sooner listen to a podcast in my empty space.
Oh my gosh.
I love listening to my husband's music, of course.
Let's go.
But other than that, I'm kind of like not very experimental.
Right.
When I found something I liked, I was this is gonna be what I listen to forever.
And
I
that makes me
still
so
listen
happy.
to it.
Oh, thank you.
Matt's
We were
like,
on Instagram on the way here, and somebody tagged me and tagged us in something. I look at it, and it opens, and it's like somebody celebrating their 19-year anniversary, and they're playing our song over it. And I just open it, and it's her voice singing a song that we sing a million times, and she goes, "Ooh, turn it off."
I get it.
No, I think you guys are wonderful, but it's like when you hear the same song.
I think you guys are wonderful, but
when you hear the same song 10,000 times,
Yeah,
like
bro.
I do to myself, I'll find a song that I love, and then I play it a bunch, and then Abby will be like, "Dude, can you please stop playing that EDM song?"
It gives me
What song do you have like that right now?
Oh man, for a little bit it was Midnight by Liam Payne. It was like a collab he did with an EDM artist.
He likes EDM.
Okay.
And
Nice.
so I'm like, I need you to have a vibe that's a little bit more mellow right now.
Yeah.
Stitches by Ed Sheeran for a
Yeah,
little bit.
that was it for a while.
No, but your music is so good, and I feel like we're probably not alone in this, but your music was the soundtrack to our marriage.
Oh, come on, man.
And it still
Seriously,
is, but like our first year of marriage, it was always on, and it just felt like our life was a movie. Like, we were so happy.
We played your songs at like for our guests walking into our wedding and walking out of our wedding.
Let's go.
Did you even remember that?
Which one was it? The We Don't Need.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sing, bro.
And-
You better sing.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this had made sense in time. Like, ring the bells, like when we were like leaving.
Let's go.
I think we had like
Yeah.
a lot.
Let's go.
It always means like so much to me when people use our music for their wedding day, because I know how like insane we were with like picking every song and like what the DJ could play. And when I say DJ, it was our friend who had an iPod.
And
Literally,
when we got married, we still had the rotary iPod.
like we got married in my
Where you
parents'
just
backyard, and we were like, just it's plugged in behind a bush, so just go back there and like move it around. But you know, but yeah, it was it was such a big deal. So
our first dance was Louis Armstrong's version of La Vie en Rose. That was our first dance song. I had a playlist. I made a playlist for Amanda. She had all her babies at home. Superhero, superstar, yada yada.
I like food,
all
and they
natural.
told me you couldn't eat at a hospital, so I said I'll have them at home.
Literally, there's like pictures of her
Give me
in
some
labor, me
snacks.
feeding her ice cream. She's like, "I want ice cream!"
But you guys are so humble though, because
incredibly humble. Let me talk about it.
No, you are. No, you seriously are. Like I want to hype you guys up for a second, because I was doing some research today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are like Oprah Winfrey's like token artist. Like she's a huge fan of you guys.
I've never heard of that.
Wait,
I don't
really?
know.
Yeah.
AI said that. Wait.
So one time we were invited over to Oprah's house.
Don't tell me that it's wrong. I want to just believe that.
We're
for a
gonna
while.
believe. Don't look it up. No fact checking today.
No fact checking.
Because
it says collaboration with,
right
right here, collaboration with Oprah Winfrey. Johnnyswim became closely associated with Oprah, performing on her Super Soul sessions.
No, didn't do it. But
Never
that's
happened.
also fine.
But Oprah, where you at, my girl?
We were invited to Oprah's house once.
Why did AI just lie to me?
He said they went to Oprah's house though.
No, they invited us.
That's pretty
We
cool.
were invited.
Tyler Perry invited us to Oprah's house for his firstborn son, firstborn child's
Tyler Perry.
christening.
Christening, yeah.
And when Tyler Perry announced to the world that they had their first baby, it was just a Johnnyswim lyric. And it was like, babe, we made it. This is unbelievable. So 4 people were invited to Oprah's house for the christening, aside from Tyler Perry and his baby mama. Yeah. It was us, Oprah, Jennifer Hudson, Tyler Perry, and the baby. And I was like, babe, we gotta... And there's probably like some therapy I need to go through for this.
Probably.
Because now when really big opportunities come up that feel like they're going to be mind-blowing and life-changing, I feel like they're just never going to happen. She's like, babe, that's the day I'm due with our firstborn child.
With our child that day.
We can't go to Atlanta or Chicago or wherever it was.
It's no, we're not going to make it back for...
It was literally the due date.
It was on my due date. And I was like, I'm not going.
And it ended up being the day she had the baby. Or the day after.
It was the day after, so we wouldn't have been able to do it anyway.
So we didn't go, never met Oprah, never met Tyler Perry.
But you're my girl. Big hopes.
Big hopes? That's not okay.
You're my girl.
That is unacceptable.
It is okay because she's my girl.
Okay. Oops, we love you.
Was this your first
baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, so music for weddings. La Vie en Rose is our first dance. I had like a 3-hour playlist for labor that we had made. No song repeated ever.
Wow.
And she gave birth to our firstborn child. As the music's playing, our baby enters the world to La Vie en Rose, the same version that we had our first dance to.
No way.
Which is really amazing. And I'm even saying, babe, do you hear what song? There's a video of it. I'm like, babe, do you hear what song's playing? Like, so that we have this deep connection to our wedding music, now connected to our son. And the other day, we're out of town. And my sister, who watches the kids for us, she showed us Joaquin, our oldest son, has a little keyboard in his room.
He just got it for Christmas, yeah.
He just got it for Christmas, and he was teaching himself how to play a song. So, you're like in an Uber or something going somewhere, and he's going to probably bang on the keys a little bit. I'm not prepared for like an emotional experience from this video. And he's like, is it playing? Is it recording? It's recording. Okay. And he goes, bam, ba da 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 da.
And we both were like, oh. So all that to say, we feel so connected to our wedding song. So when people say, your song was in my wedding, we're always like, that's so beautiful.
It's not something that we just say, oh, thanks.
It's like such a big honor for us.
It's a really big deal. It's a really
big deal.
So we're honored that we were part of your wedding.
Well, your music is truly beautiful. And I love that it brings together all these different genres to make a very unique, folky, jazzy, blues sound. It's so good. And it's funny you bring up, Louis Armstrong, because like, with Abby's rotation of music, it's like Johnnyswim, Louis Armstrong, Leon Bridges, George Ezra. Like it's like that's her rotation, and it's all influenced by jazz and it's it does that ever get like intimidating, the fact that your music is being played at like everyone's wedding across the country? Like is that ever like, man, we better never get into a public argument because then people are gonna like come for us or something. Sweet.
Man, we argue. We don't argue ever.
We actually don't really.
We never argue.
No way.
We've never finished the show still mad at each other. Actually.
Yeah, we've never finished a show still mad at each other. And I do think, we've been together for almost 20 years.
This October 1st is our 20-year anniversary of being together.
Our hardest years was the years that we dated. We fought all the time. Like we were just constantly like we were just bickered all the time. And then we got married and we were like, pretty chill. We're like, we're pretty chill. And
there's something about knowing you're on the same team forever, like same team. We always say, like with our band, one band, one sound is kind of like just a slogan we use all the time, and that's what it is in marriage too. Like once you know you've committed that you're going to do this till the day you die. Like I also think weddings aren't like as Cinderella stories as they are made to be. It's like, okay, let's all get together, and I'm going to swear, I'm going to love you until I am dirt.
Yeah, literally.
Until I return to ashes under the earth, I'm going to love you till that moment. And there is a sense of romance to it, but this is like a really massive, it's a massive promise, man. It's not, so I think something about that promise changed. It didn't just change our relationship, it settled something for us that's bigger than words and bigger than whatever. Maybe the little bickering we could, and we did often, was just settled in, no, it's us forever. Till toe tags and body bags. Not until we ride off into the sunset, until this becomes over.
Yeah, but I think with that, it's like, every couple argues, and it would be very weird and awkward and not human
if all you had was sugar.
If all you had was sugar and you didn't have to like work through, like, part of why we get along so well and part of why we enjoy our marriage so much is because we can look at each other and be like, I don't like that. and we have to talk it out, and we have to sit there and get back on the same page. So without that,
or like recently, you're like, okay, fine, I know I hurt your feelings, but can you get over it because we need to.
Can we move this up?
You didn't hurt my feelings, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, I didn't hurt that. Is that not a hurt feeling I'm hearing?
No, just being annoyed is not hurt. What you said. Being annoyed is not having hurt feelings.
I'm annoyed with you. I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt at all. I'm not hurt. I went to a room and cried alone. It's fine
because
now.
you guys aren't just like, a typical marriage. You guys work together too. Does that?
You guys get it?
Yeah, we fight almost before every solo episode.
We fought last night.
Really?
There you go. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
What did we fight last night?
Exactly.
We were trying to film a video and
yeah. See, it's always involving
It was past work
Yeah.
hour. It was past work hours.
Yeah.
And it was like stressful because we just wanted to be with our kids.
Right.
We were like, we gotta freaking film this video.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
That'll do it.
It's,
but I think also in those times, like for a big thing for us was recognizing, for one, I'm kind of like that. Like if something is outside of work time, like it's really hard for my brain to shift gears. Like if I'm in mom mode, it's really hard for me to be like, I'm cooking dinner and the kids are all asking for my attention, and now you're asking me about a song lyric, and like I can't give you the attention that you need right now. Like can't do it. Like my creative juices have shut off. You have to get me at a quiet time. He can just be like doing whatever through the whole time.
Like I'll pull up a guitar while she's making dinner, and 3 children are yelling at her, "Hey babe, I figured out verse 2," and I start playing. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I don't even clock the "what are you doing?" Like I just see her eyes and I go, "Okay, she's listening," and I start singing, and she stops, she puts it down, she goes, "What are you doing?"
I can't help you right now. I don't even hear you right now.
No, it's like I see your mouth moving, but it's not.
And so he knows for me that like it's not a point of contention because he knows that about me, and I also know like okay, his mind is gonna go and be creative. Like he doesn't care. It doesn't.
And there's
stop
busy seasons, right, where like the line really gets blurred when you're married and your partners in work and business and life and everything. And we've never put like hard stops on stuff, but naturally we flow between. We like to say it's not a balance, it's a gumbo. Like it's not like balance like you're playing Jenga, work life stuff. It's gumbo. Like the food needs to get made. The pot's getting made and you taste it. It needs a little more salt, and as you go, it's alive, right? Like you're fixing the flavor as you go. And so there's times where we realize, all right, there's a little too much work in this gumbo. Let's relax. Let's put the guitar away. Let's put the conversation away for now and just watch a movie, watch a show,
and also
just look at each other and talk.
Also, I think a big clarifying moment for our marriage was when he realized that if I'm tired, don't mess with me, and I realized that if he's hungry, don't mess with him. And so now it's like a very easy, like so many arguments now. He'll say something that just like gets under my skin, and I'll just kind of look at him. And I'll just hand him some almonds. I'm like, I think that was hunger, And he'll eat and be like, I was hungry. And I'm like, okay.
Now it's like a protein
do you really
bar or
mean
something
what
quick.
you just said?
Why
and
almonds?
and the same thing for me, or just whatever I have, like whatever snack I have
We always
nearby.
have
like,
protein bars now, or like a protein like
yeah,
let's
thing.
just,
I'm like, let's just eat that, and then let's have this conversation. And I'm the same way. If I'm tired or I haven't slept, I'm like, what are you talking to me for? Everybody's talking too loud, and I want to be alone and cry.
For Christmas, I got her a door hanger that says "I'm all touched out," and just don't touch me, and it just goes on the door.
And then the other side is like, please come hug me.
Please come hug me.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm open for hugs.
I'm
at this
open.
point.
I'm ready. Yeah.
That's like for us at least, like when we were in the depths of 2 under 2
Yes.
and the late nights and early mornings with both our kids. Like sometimes there'd be mornings where one of our kids would wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
and
dude.
we're just like. Like even if you're not the one waking up with the kid, well now you're up for the day because
Right,
you
yeah.
woke up
for sure.
and
Right.
you're the melatonin that your body naturally
Right.
produces has naturally worn off
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's earlier in the morning and it's like okay, that's great. Like I understand. Like for Abby, she'd be like, "Well, thanks for getting up with our son, but I literally can't go back to sleep now because,
Yeah,
because of the
exactly.
screaming of our
Right.
baby waking up."
Yo, how about kids being full volume at any time of day?
Anytime.
Like my daughters this morning,
They
were
run into the room.
screaming
Boom,
at
boom, boom, boom,
6:30,
boom, boom.
and they all weigh 300 pounds when they run into the room.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
weigh
yeah.
30, but when they're running to your room, they weigh 300 pounds. You can hear them from across the house. Just, and
No.
this is not human interaction.
You're like, I know. Literally, sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna throw up right now.
Yeah, like last night, our daughter woke me up, and I was like trying to get her back to bed, and it was 4 a.m. and she was like, "Mommy, hold me," and I was like, "Girl, I am shaky right now. I'm like, I can barely hold myself up right now. Like, you need to walk. You got yourself here. You can get yourself back.
You know, it's
I'll
great
come with you, but."
when you're calling your daughter girl. Like I was calling Joaquin bruh yesterday. Me and our son had a little day trip, just took a little trip together, and it was the flight kept getting delayed coming back. And she was like, "Dad, can you just hold me?" I was like, "Bruh, You are huge.
You are huge.
You're 10 years old, my man. I'm not holding you right now. You are a 5'3", 10-year-old, and your daddy is not holding you.
I can fit into his shoes.
You can
now.
lean on me when we're sitting down.
That actually scares me for when our son. It's probably not gonna be too long. I'm 5'2".
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna happen if he's 5'3" at 10?
Oh yeah.
Well, do they so far get their height from you?
Yes.
So far, yeah, I guess. I guess we're a foot difference.
They're
in height.
both in like the 90th percentile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not in the.
Yeah, you got about 2 years before you can share shoes with them. They'll be slipping into those on the way out to the park in like no time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so
Wait,
fun.
I'm so curious. How did you guys know? Because for us, like, I think the hard part of our relationship kind of hit when kids came around. Because it's like, whoa, now we have like these two humans that are fully reliant on us for everything.
Right.
How did you know that it was the right decision when you weren't seeing eye to eye before marriage?
The right decision to have a kid?
No, how did you know that getting married was the right call when you guys, it seemed like you weren't getting along beforehand?
I got one.
Yeah.
Well, we were definitely getting along, but we would.
It was just.
We only noticed it more after getting married, how much less we would disagree or fight.
Mm-hmm.
There was definitely a change. Not that we don't disagree and fight, because we do. But I win. Just kidding.
Thank you to Hungry Root for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. I have a goal for 2025 that I feel like you are actively working against
What is
me
it?
on every single day.
What is it?
Eating at home more.
Oh shoot, yeah. I've been going to get food out a lot.
And the reason I want to eat at home is because I have a health goal of not eating as many processed foods and also prioritizing protein. And that's why Hungry Root is awesome. It's like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist all wrapped into one. They take care of the weekly grocery shopping, recommending healthy groceries and meals tailored to your taste, nutrition preferences, and health goals. And you guys, get this. Hungry Roots recipes can all be made in just 15 minutes or less.
That is so nice, actually.
Matt, you've had so many Hungry Root meals.
Maybe I'll stop eating out
Remember
now.
that one time you were like, please,
Well,
I want to go out for lunch. I was like, let me make it for you. And I had steak quesadillas made for you in literally 10 minutes.
Well, when I eat out, I eat like crap. So I feel like if we made it at home, it'd be a lot healthier.
Yes, they're whole ingredients.
Okay.
And that's actually one of the greatest things about Hungry Root is that they have no high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, or preservatives in any of their foods.
That's amazing.
They also have top quality sourced meat and seafood free of hormones and antibiotics. You can also get snacks. We've had so many delicious, nutritious snacks. So you're going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/unplanned and use code unplanned. That's hungryroot.com/unplanned, code unplanned to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/unplanned, code unplanned.
I've never believed in the one. My whole life, I would argue. I grew up in church. I'd be like, God's got somebody for you. And even as a kid, that just didn't clock for me. I was like, God's got one person. So one idiot's going to go out there and marry the wrong person and just mess up the algorithm for absolutely everybody. I was kind of a pain in the butt. Like, I would have a friend, I remember being in a car when we were dating, and a buddy of mine who's always really creative and artistic is like, look at this sunset. Can you believe God painted this sunset just for us? A really beautiful idea and really pure. A grown man at that time, 22 years old or whatever he was. Will Hill, shout out to Will Hill. It just so beautiful and pure, and he wasn't putting on a show. He really was just, it came from his soul to his mouth. Look how beautiful this sunset is God painted for us today. I was like, bro, God did not paint that. That is like just the sunset today. Like the difference in heating of the surface of the earth created those clouds.
I'm so literal like
it's
you.
6:30. Like, what are we talking about? God painted that. That's just 6:30 in Nashville, Tennessee is going to look like this.
Yep.
In a Kroger parking lot. It's the most beautiful sunset on earth. I've never seen a more beautiful sunset anywhere than in a Kroger parking lot in Tennessee for some reason.
Yeah, you're
I
so
felt the same way.
unromantic.
Exactly. So I always felt the same way about like the one. Literally felt that way. Like there's no the one, right? I was 19 years old. I was, as we called in Southern Baptist Church, backslidden. And I was dating this girl in Nashville, Tennessee at the time. And she invited me to church. She said, if we're going to keep dating, we got to go to church. And I'm getting to the point, I promise.
Are you?
No. We'll see. We'll see. It's an adventure. And we're sitting at church together. And I'm sitting through church. I liked church, even though I was backslidden. I was, I was cool with it. Church lets out, and this girl stands up in the front. It's Amanda. And I think to myself, that's the girl I'm going to marry. Like out of nowhere, out of the blue, that thought comes to me. And I also said it out loud without knowing it, right next to the girl I was dating. So I got dumped immediately right then. And it was literally the last breakup I ever had was that moment. I didn't meet her for 4 years after that. But in that moment, my whole theology that there's not just one person for you, that you just have to do your best, was destroyed. Because I saw her I said, if that is on the table, I have to be a better person. If like attracts like, I can tell from this distance she's just a good person. She's gorgeous. She's amazing. I need to be better. And I literally seeing her once. This sounds ridiculous. It sounds like a bit. I didn't date ever again until I dated her. And I
walked
dated her
4 years. 4 years. 4 years go by.
So when you ask a question like, how did you know it was the right thing to get married, bro? How do you know you should breathe air? Like that is the only answer is oxygen. Man. That's the only answer. For me, the only answer was this one ever.
You're such an artist. That's beautiful.
As he says that, he's, God didn't pay the sunset, but look how that turned around.
Yeah.
I walked into a coffee shop, 4 years later, and he was there with another friend of ours who's, they were roommates at the time. He's a singer-songwriter named Matt Carney. And he just turned around. I said hi to Matt, and Abner just turned around and saw him, and he goes, I've been waiting to meet you for so long. And I was like, oh, excuse me. Gotta break up my boyfriend real quick.
I follow you home every day.
I was dating somebody else.
Oh gosh.
So it took a couple months for it to work out, and then it worked out.
Were you immediately like, this dude is stalking me?
No, I thought he was so cute.
I was though.
I had thought he was cute before, but I had seen him at church also.
Cyber stalking. It was cyber stalker.
I saw who he was hanging out with, and I was like, oh, that group of people, they're not like they're not my crowd. And I was like, if he likes them, then he's not gonna like me. Like, we're two different types of people. I was like a nerd. I was in school. They were like cool, wanting to go out, like dress cool, whatever. And I was like, I'm wearing sweatpants. I'm going to class. See you later. Yeah. So I was like, if that's his crew, like, he's never gonna be into me. So I had seen him for years, and then I moved to New York, and I was dating somebody else. And then when I came back, and he said, I've been wanting to meet you for so long, I was like, tell me more. And then we sat down. He sat down at the coffee shop with my friend and I, and just like was like chatting and was like, I've wanted to meet you. Can I sit with you for a couple minutes? And I was like, yeah. So we chatted a little bit, and I was like texting all my single friends that were still living in Nashville. Like, this guy's so cute. I thought he was cute for years, but I thought he was a douche. He's not a douche. He's really sweet. You should meet him. So I was trying to set him up with my friends. And then a couple months went by. I went back to New York. We kind of made friends on social media. And then I broke with my boyfriend a couple months later.
I told her, like, once she's broken up with her boyfriend, I invited her. I was a solo artist at the time. I invited her to one of my shows. And a friend of mine who was actually obsessed with her sister, we both like would download pictures, because she was a model in New York. Her sister modeled for a little bit, was an actress. We would download pictures of Amanda on my desktop. And I had a folder on my desktop that just said Amanda. And it was like every modeling shoot she did. I remember one point you did like a teeth whitening thing. Sure did. And you're like walking down the runway like with teeth whitener in. And I was like, this is just still so freaking beautiful. Like, she's like doing teeth whitening on a runway, which is bizarre but beautiful. And so my buddy, it
was backstage. It wasn't actually on the runway.
Oh, it was backstage. Well, see, I always thought you were on the runway. And my buddy who knew I was obsessed with her, Amanda, shows up to see me sing. He grabs me by both shoulders, turns me to look him square, and he goes, Amanda Sudano is here to see you sing. Don't mess this up.
And then he played, and I went back and found him and was like, can we write songs together? I want to write songs. And he was like, sure, I'll bring champagne. Let's get married.
So the first day we hung out, I was like, all right, I've been waiting. If you want to watch Grass Girl, I'll watch Grass Girl with you. Whatever you want to do, I'm in 100% of the way, whatever. And I told her, maybe the first hangout or second hangout, but really, really early on, you need to know this. I have a folder on my desktop for the last 4 years, and this is real, of pictures of you from the internet that I've saved, and I've been like tracking the things you do ever since I first saw you. I've been like tracking, like, I just hope that's not like super crazy. Also, I would marry you tomorrow. I told her all this. Yeah. I would marry you tomorrow. I'd be your best friend. I'd walk you down the aisle if you married somebody else. I just want you to know I want to be around you. I want to be in your life somehow. To which you responded,
I actually have a folder of you too. Which I had. Like, after I saw him at the coffee shop, I was like, let me do my research.
Oh my God.
Do you guys remember Zanga? It was like the early.
They don't remember Zanga.
I did Facebook when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, so before Facebook, there was like Live Journal and Zanga, and essentially it was just you would blog.
It was kind of around the same time as Facebook, but Facebook. This is also probably before your time, but when Facebook first came up, it was only college. So you could only get in there if you had a college .edu email. Oh. So for years, Facebook was only like for you to keep in touch with like your college friends, and that was the only way you could get on there. So there was also this other thing called Zanga, which was like a blog basically thing where you could upload pictures, and so I would.
But you wouldn't see the pictures. You'd have to like code it. You'd have to do a HTML thing and it would open up a different tab.
No, you could see them.
Well, mine, I never got pro coding. I only did the.
Oh, excuse me.
But this whole time while you're stalking Amanda, looking at pictures on your computer of her, did you have any clue who her mom was at the time?
I didn't know who her mom was. The name Donna Summer didn't mean anything to me even when we started dating. People are like, do you know her mom is Donna Summer? I was like, did you know my mom's Marisol Ramirez?
Yeah, he didn't care about that.
Like literally one time, one of the first early days, we played at a friend of ours' church. And we were playing it on the stage at church, and the pastor's big, like, Texas mega church. And the pastor's a friend of ours, says, real quick, can you believe, to, like, you know, the thousands of people in the room, this is, Amanda's mom is Donna Summer. Can y'all believe that? And I grabbed the mic at church in front of everybody, and I grabbed the mic and go, and Abner's mom is Marisol Ramirez. Let's just make sure the time is equal on both of these.
Give my mom a shout out.
He didn't know, and I wasn't like, my mom, but he kind of asked, I think, some of his roommates or whatever, and they're like, yeah, you know, she sings this song, that song, and he was kind of like vaguely
and then
familiar.
I saw their house, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's somebody.
And then he came to one of her shows, and he was like, oh, I know like half of these songs, and he's like, I know all these songs. He's like, I just didn't know the name, but at that point he'd already been over our house for dinner every night for months, and you know, they were already pranking each other, as my mother and he like to prank each other.
Can we tell the prank story now? Okay.
Maybe after the camera stopped.
We didn't prank each other heavy though. It was nice.
Wait, you started the pranking or she started the pranking?
She did.
She did. I can't tell the one. Well, what's she gonna do? She ain't gonna be mad at us.
I'm not worried about her.
Well, she's dead, man.
Yeah, no.
Gosh, you guys, you have such dark humor.
It's a sign of our intelligence, I like to think.
It's a sign of intelligence? Yeah, sure.
I saw somebody say that online. I was like, okay, I'll take that.
I'll just, no fact checking.
No, but they like to prank each other. And so at that point he was like, just, you know,
You said
he was already part of the family. I think my parents really liked him. Like, he was folded right in because he was a songwriter. And so, whereas like my sisters married, you know, guys with like regular jobs, and my parents were like, so how are you going to support her? And you know, like they would
and they were making money, and they would have those talks. And so I got nervous waiting for my talk.
They had like businesses, and they were still getting talks. And I brought him around, and they were like, he's a musician. Like, of course he works at P.F. Chang's bussing tables. Like, he's a musician. But they were like so happy that he just had a passion, and like, and it was the same. It was the same thing as like what they had, you know, like my parents met each other. But, you know, my mom was already kind of like becoming famous, but she was still kind of like just becoming famous when they met. And my dad had moved to LA because he got a record deal with his band, and they met at my aunt's house, who's actually just a family friend of my dad's and my mom's manager. And so she had both of them staying with her because they were both trying to find places in LA, and so they were both crashing at her place.
And didn't she say to Bruce, like, you leave Donna alone?
Yeah, and she said to my dad, because he was kind of a player. She's like, don't you mess with her. I like her. Don't you mess with her. And then to my mom, he was like, she was like, he's a player. Don't give him. He's going to try to talk to you. He's going to try to talk to you. He's got a girlfriend. Like, don't let him like try to like whatever. And regardless, they stayed up all night, and you know, here we are. So I think my parents, you know, they would write songs together. They would sit around and, you know, go on tours together and whatever. And so I think when they saw us writing together and playing shows, and it was like very sweet for them to like watch kind of like a version of themselves, you know? Yeah. So he never got any of the talks. He still doesn't get the talks. The only talks he gets now are like, take rest. Make sure you guys are resting. Make sure she's resting. That's like, you know, the talk he gets, but he never had the... Often. Our energy levels are slightly different.
I remember we were in New York when we were first starting, so early 2000s, and we played a little show in New York, and we're going to go play an even smaller show in Connecticut. I think we'd literally sold 13 or 14 tickets. We're going to drive ourselves to Connecticut and play this concert at a little black box theater in Fairfield, Connecticut. Yeah. And her parents were in New York, and we were staying in their big suite at a fancy hotel in New York City.
On the pull-out couch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we were going to Connecticut the next day, and her mom was like, we're going to drive you guys. And she was like, Mom, no, like, that's ridiculous. Like, don't drive. It's going to be embarrassing. Like, 10 people are going to be there. We'll take the train. We'll get there, play the show.
For 10 people, and then we're coming
home.
home.
So they were kind of like going back and forth. And Dad was like, no, we're going to take you. It's okay. And Amanda's like, no, Mom, it's embarrassing. Like, come on, man, whatever. And I'll never forget what her mom said. She was, Amanda, you're never going to get these days back. One day you're going to be on buses, and you're going to be traveling the world, and you're going to be doing all these things, and you'll never get these moments back. These are the good old days, and I want to be there for the good old days. Mm-hmm. Let me drive you. Really, really sweet. Why am I getting emotional? And so she drove us, and it really was a beautiful thing. It was we played this little show. She sat in the back. Her and Bruce, her parents, sat in the back and like support us. So they'd always, and Bruce continues to support us in great ways. I'll never forget my parents when they realized that I was dating royalty. They sat me down in Florida, in their house in Jacksonville, Florida. And it was a really serious, I don't know how y'all's dads would talk to you, but it was a really, like, I knew a serious conversation was coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
He put the coffee on. My mom put the coffee on because he asked her to. Bring the coffee over. Mijo, siéntate ahí. Wait, sit right there. Mijo, wait. Then we gotta talk. Sit down. Your girlfriend, Amanda. Do her parents know that you're poor? Do they know that we're poor? There is no dowry. There is going to be no support system. Like, you are just out there. I was like, yeah, Dad, they know. Like, we're good. They don't care. They don't care? They don't care. Then they don't know. If they knew you were poor, she could have anybody. Why would she be with a poor Cuban kid like you?
Oh, my favorite poor Cuban kid.
Well, I think it's so beautiful, though, hearing you guys explain all this. It's making sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it makes sense why Johnnyswim is what it is. And it seems like you guys in your relationship making music together was what you saw in your parents. And so you wanted that to be your life. You wanted that to be your family. And I was listening to an interview with you guys, and it was so cool hearing you say this, because I was like, wow, like, here's Donna Summer's daughter, who's in this amazing, successful music group, who's talking about, I don't know if it was you or Abner that said this, but basically, I think one of you said that you didn't really care all that much about the fame aspect. And I was like, wow, that's emotional intelligence. Wow, that is so, that's so wise. I think people, myself included, I feel like I learned this, I'm still learning this, even to this day. I don't want to act like I have all the answers, but people get so caught off guard by fame, and they just don't realize, like, there's so much more to life than that.
Yeah, man.
And I feel like you seeing your parents have the sweet thing they had,
right,
and bringing that into your music, it's cool that you get to share that with the world.
Well, there's a cost to it, right? So I grew up seeing the cost of being recognized places, and you know, I could see how it would affect her. I could see how it would affect her. Just, oh, we're gonna go out for dinner, and she had to sit at a certain place. We had to find the right table, and if people came up, then there was always like the, well, I'm with my family. I don't want there to be I don't want a line of people for, you know, there was always those logistics that made things harder. But the thing that was the most exciting thing, and it wasn't like she was anti being famous or anything like that. It was like, but the thing that I think they put a lot of value on was creative freedom and doing something that you're passionate about. Like, I don't think they would have cared at all if I was like, I want to, you know, I don't know, like study bugs, or, you know, I don't know, like they wouldn't have cared what I was doing as long as I was passionate about it and was following that thing. You know, I think their biggest fear for all of their kids was that we would talk ourselves out of whatever it is that we wanted to do, because for whatever reason we thought it'd be too hard, or it wasn't, you know, too risky or whatever else, and that we would look back later in life going, oh man, like I always wanted to do that thing and I just never gave myself the opportunity to do it.
That's where our parents were the same.
Yeah.
Our
like,
parents
fail you want, fail a million times over, but do the thing that you love. Like
my dad
failure
would say,
is not as bad as as bad as, you know, that sense of loss that you have for not pursuing something that was in your heart to pursue. So
that's good.
Fail and have fun. Like that was really the point. And that's the point of like, these are the good old days. Like, sure, you're not at the top, but like, why do you think the top of the mountain is the top of the mountain? It's not really. Like, the whole journey is to be enjoyed. There's not, sure, there's going to be parts and milestones and stuff, and you hope that you get to those places and you hope you can enjoy it. But unless you enjoy all these places leading up to it, you're not going to enjoy the big milestones, because you're always going to be looking ahead to something else. You know, there's never an end to it.
And comparing yourself to somebody that's got a higher mountain or a bigger platform or whatever. Our parents were definitely the same in that my parents weren't the immigrant parents that were like, you got to get the best job, the safest job, the whatever. My dad, I don't remember a lot of the lectures, but the lectures I do remember mostly revolved around, we risked everything to be here. And we didn't risk it for you to have a safe, easy life. We risked it because here you can do anything you want.
Thank you to Orgain for sponsoring this portion of today's episode.
My biggest beef with plant protein is that it doesn't taste good.
Which is weird, Matt, because you like peas.
But
and that's exactly what it is.
And I don't like pea protein, but for whatever reason, the Orgain protein is actually the best plant-based protein I have ever tasted. They gave us these like little pre-packaged protein drinks, and they're actually really freaking good. Like, our kids see us drinking them and they just beg us to give them the protein drinks all the time.
They think it's chocolate milk. Orgain believes real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives. Orgain is famous for their organic plant protein powder. It packs 21 grams of complete protein with all 9 essential amino acids. All Orgain products are made with USDA certified organic ingredients, so you can know you're getting the nutrition you need without the things you may be trying to avoid, like soy ingredients, artificial sweeteners, flavors, or preservatives. Plus, their products are handcrafted with high quality ingredients. Like Matt said, we love their chocolate one.
They taste really good.
They're great for after workout. It's very, very simple to just throw in a shaker bottle, mix it with some almond milk, some water, whatever you mix it with.
They're delicious.
And are you a busy person? Because we are too. That's why Orgain is simple. Orgain is made so you can literally just add water and go. No more time-consuming prep to get you the nutrients you need. Remember, there are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain Organics Plant Protein Powder a try. Head to Orgain.com/unplanned and use code UNPLANNED for 30% off your order. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code UNPLANNED for 30% off. One last time, for 30% off, head to Orgain.com/unplanned. Use my code UNPLANNed.
I moved to Nashville. My dad drove me to Nashville. I wasn't accepted at college there or anything yet. And we went there on the week of moving in for freshman orientation week at Trevecca Nazarene University in Nashville, because I wanted to be a songwriter. And, to be a songwriter, to be in New York, LA, or Nashville. And he's like, we can't get you to New York or LA, but I can drive you to Nashville. Let's go find a school. Literally had a friend that was going to Trevecca. We go to Trevecca. He somehow, as my dad did, got in with the dean. And he was like, my son, he's smart. He's got good scores in SAT. He's a violinist. He's whatever. He should be at your school. Well, no, the time's already done for acceptance and all that stuff. He's like, no, I'll just accept him. Somehow, I got into the school, got to Nashville, and my life changed forever.
The week of orientation?
The week before school started on Monday. I got there on like a Tuesday. Like, it was insane, like super insane. But it changed my life because we both, in a similar way, we both had parents that just, when they saw that we had something we wanted to do, a drive for our life, a passion, that's put all the chips on that. Just push all the chips in. You're all, let's go. Let's go do that thing.
That's awesome.
And neither of us would be the people we are, much less have the career we have. Not that, and that's not a size or scale, just it's a risky thing to do, to be an artist for a living, create art for commerce is full of risk.
So
completely, always, and never gets safe, ever.
No.
Oh, yeah.
But
It only gets weirder.
It only gets weirder. And technology changes, and TikTok happens, and then goes away, and then comes back.
And I say this just to show how big of a failure I am, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I tried, and I guess I'm not giving it up for good, but I tried to do like the artist thing this past year. I started like releasing music, because I was like, I've got 7 million subscribers on YouTube and like 7 billion streams on there. 7 billion views. So I was like, well, like to do music, like I could probably get like a couple million streams like that. That shouldn't be like that hard, right? Because I have like this audience. Bro, I had the biggest advantage, and yet I failed miserably, because it's like music is not easy at all.
Yeah.
It is so hard, and there's so many talented people out there. So the fact that you guys have been able to make it in that industry, doing what you love, is incredible.
And just to be clear, we're not famous. We don't have some huge platform. We don't have whatever. But I always say the day we made it is the first time we paid our rent with tour money. The first time we paid our rent with music money was the day we made it. Like that to me is the top of the mountain. We make a living. We get to put our kids in a fancy school right now. We pay for our house because of music, and that's making it. Like we don't need Grammys. We don't need more accolades. We had this conversation once with this New York Times columnist. And he said this really wise thing and profound thing that I'm not going to quote correctly, so I'll do my version of it. He says, Western humans, Western people, what's it called? Like Western Europe and America.
Western humans?
The West. You know what I mean? Like Western Europeans in America. Like we have this, we want to wear our chips of joy. We want to be able to compare our joy to each other. Is ultimately what we want.
Our consumption, right? Oh.
We want to compare our joy.
Yes.
Thanks. That's the
Sorry,
punchline.
that was the punchline.
We want to be able to show our joy, but there's no chips for joy. There's no badges for how satisfied you are in life. So the thing we can show isn't even the money we have or the house we have. It's our ability to continue to consume is how we show the world, subconsciously or consciously, how much joy we have or how much we've made it or how established we are. And it's a thing that it's a destructive thing. It's an unsatisfying thing. It's like only eating sugar. It's like it's not a thing that actually produces real joy. It eats itself alive and it goes nowhere. And I think in the same way, when you think of career path and you think of status, if you were thinking of, the sales or the stuff, there's always somebody else. There's always somebody or somebody on their way to beat your record or do something better. Sorry,
I was just going to say, and that's, I think you can reframe it in your head of that's not, you're in no way a failure. You're actually the opposite of a failure because you did it. A failure would have been if you just never tried, right? A failure would be, literally we have an album coming out in a month and we've been trying to decide, okay, what will it look like if it's successful? Like, what does success look like? And honestly, like, who knows anymore? Is it TikTok? Is it ticket sales for shows? Is it your song being on a movie? Like, what does it actually mean? Because the industry itself doesn't really have like a basis. If you ask different people, it's going to be something different. Like, why are they successful? Oh, they're successful because they're on TikTok. Why are they successful? Oh, they're successful because they can tour all year long and sell tickets.
Or look at the trophies they have.
Or look at the trophies they have. So there's, I mean, what you name success, I think if you can frame it in your head as doing it is the success. Like, that's what it is.
That's so
It'll
good.
It'll grow as you grow. And like what you'd be robbing everybody else if you just said, oh, that didn't work, and so I'm like just not going to do it anymore. I'm like, no, just keep doing it. If you love it, do it.
That's so
You're right.
good.
We need a standing ovation. I'm gonna stand up right now. No, okay, seriously though, like you said that perfectly. So I'm not gonna try to like that was incredible. That was like you need to like put that on the wall somewhere. Like quote that, put that on the wall. But there's probably people out there that someone could go look at Spotify streaming numbers and be like, oh, this artist is more successful than this artist because their streams are 5 times more, 10 times more, whatever.
Right.
You guys have such like I'm just making this assumption based off of the research I've done on you. You guys have a very healthy family, marriage. Like you seem to have like a very good, well-rounded, like amazing life. And people could look at someone who has like 50, 60, 70 million monthly listeners and they're like, man, I want to be them. I want to be them. Yeah. They don't realize like a lot of those people are like kind of depressed, because they work so hard. And then they don't have family, and they don't have kids.
The basis isn't there. It's like we need community and we need people. And I think the people that have a hard time as they succeed are the people that kind of lose connection with the people in their lives that really keep them grounded. I think that's probably why my mom was able to be successful and keep herself grounded. Like she always traveled with her sisters, and she kept people around. And of the celebrities that we are blessed enough to know and call friends, and I say blessed because the ones that we hang out with are all really awesome people, but it's the same thing. If you go hang out with, anybody that I know that's like, you would consider like a big celebrity, the ones that are doing well are the ones that have just like the most solid group of people. Like you go hang out with them and their friends, you're all like, oh my gosh, I want to be with your friends because their friends and their family are amazing, And so I think, you can't forsake your people and the things that really matter as you achieve your dreams.
I think we pass by the thing that really is the actual win on a path to get the win that we've made in our head.
Right.
Like we have this imaginary finish line down there that we will just let everything around us blur in order to get to that thing, because that's what winning is. And so often people get there and they realize, oh, this meant nothing anyways. This never meant anything. And I blew by all the stuff that mattered on the way to get something that was absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. My family, my kids, my friends, the community, the purpose we have in life. We just had these big fires in Southern California. We went to the Dream Center, which is a place that for years has been a hub for homeless people, for people in need. Anytime there's natural disasters or people in crisis, they can go to the Dream Center. Even musicians, they have a studio there that musicians can use for free to make their records. And we've recorded there. I think, we recorded some songs that are out at Dream Center actually years ago.
No way.
And it was awesome. We got to take our kids.
Maybe Hallelujah, actually. Was it Hallelujah?
We might have done the drums.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What am I saying? We went to Dream Center and we got to take our kids. And we were helping hand out. We were in the section where people needed diapers and wipes. And there were affluential families that had lost everything, that just couldn't get wipes and diapers. And you could just come in line to Dream Center and get it. And there were families of that are complete opposites standing in life or whatever, but they're all just need help and they're all happy and nobody had their head down, and our kids were helping pass out the diapers and the wipes, and my son was just smiling. Our daughters were smiling so big as they were helping these people because they knew what they were doing mattered. It mattered. And I remember our son saying to us, I'm going to get emotional thinking about it. As we were leaving, our son says, Dad, I just feel like a superhero. I just feel like a superhero. Helping people feels so good. And I was like, son, I don't know what else to tell you, but this is what you're here for. This is why we're here. This is like literally why we're alive, is moments like these. And I can't imagine, I think a failed life would be to get everything at the end of the imaginary rainbow and miss all the things along the way. Help absolutely no one but yourself. I think that is the most miserable existence that I can possibly imagine, is to get everything I can imagine that I want and miss all the wins around me. And so even like our music, we really treat it as an act of service. And so we know we have to constantly remind ourselves that it's not the sales, the streams, or the ticket sales, or any kind of affluence that can be gained by it, or attention that can be gained by it. If it helps people, we are absolutely winning. And we try to create from that space as well, that somebody needs this. somebody needs this love song that could help them, that maybe even reframe their relationship a little bit. Somebody needs this song of loss. Somebody, if it's a real feeling that we've lived with as a couple, somebody else is feeling it too. Maybe we could help them with the song.
Okay, I want to hit you with a question because we're listening to your new album, When the War is Over.
Oh, nice.
In the car on the way here. It's phenomenal, by the way. And there was a lyric that Abby and I were just like, bruh. We were like, that lyric is so good.
She wrote it. Marty telling you now.
No, it's probably Frank Gehry.
Now I'm blanking on who exactly wrote it, but well, you guys tell me who wrote it. You guys are the one. It's your song. It's your song.
We'll see.
But at the time of recording this, the album's unreleased, but the album's out on February
7th.
February 7th.
So check it out. When the War is Over. Right? I said that right.
That's it.
Exactly.
But when we were listening to the song When the War is Over, it's there was a lyric that said, "Will freedom feel like treason because war is all I know?"
Yeah.
Ooh.
That was mine.
Who wrote
that? Who wrote that?
That'd be me.
Let's go. Let's go.
She sang that to me the first time. She's like, this is too journal entry, right? This just doesn't sound like a song. It's too journal entry. And I'm like, the puddle on the floor. I'm like, that's a song.
Yeah.
What is that? Can you explain what you meant by that?
So how long of a tale shall I tell?
This is going to be a 3 episode.
Okay, so I had a bunch of health issues like in the last couple years. I had COVID a couple times, and then like my body just kind of went haywire. It's kind of like 6 months after having COVID. All of a sudden, like one day I woke up and was like, I do not feel well, and then it kind of just got worse. And there was like, we happened to be on tour, so it was a very difficult tour. And then we got home, and I thought, okay, as soon as I get home and I just can sleep for a little bit, get back to my normal schedule, I'll feel better. And then it was like, oh no, I'm just going to be in bed for months. And so it was really hard. I'm still kind of in the process of figuring out what exactly happened and how to fully heal from it. But there was a point where I was not having the extreme symptoms. So like some of my symptoms were like really tachycardia, which is like really, really high heart rate, and like passing out or feeling like I was going to pass out. Just all sorts of like weird, like feeling my body was out of control, like really insane, like sound sensitivity with like, if somebody made like put a cup down, it would feel like I was gonna have a heart attack, and I'd be like, oh my God. And like just really crazy stuff that I was like, I would go to doctor after doctor and be like, I don't even know how to explain what's happening, but like something's wrong. And so it got to a point where I, like a lot of those symptoms had like calmed down. Like I wasn't having these like, I mean, for a while I was like, I'm going to die. Like at some point I'm just going to have a heart attack and die. And I'd wake him up in the night, because sometimes I'd be like, I think I'm going to die tonight. Like, I don't know what's going on.
And it's a weird thing to like have the ambulance pull up to the house at 2:00 in the morning and try to figure out a way to get the EMTs in the house without waking up your kids.
Right.
Just because you don't want like trauma on trauma.
No.
Right. And you're like trying to figure out, when do I go to the ER, or when is this just like a normal experience, whatever. But because they couldn't figure it out, it was like just a lot of testing and a lot of whatever. So there came a point where it was like, okay, I'm better from like that. I don't wake up thinking I'm going to die anymore. Or if I do, I can go, oh, I've had this experience before and I didn't die, so I don't think I'm going to die. This is just uncomfortable. And I started kind of thinking about just emotionally going through something traumatic where you just really felt like you were going to die, or you were just in a place of like being challenged like very severely, and the trauma that comes along with that, and how even though I was like starting to feel physically better, that emotionally I was bracing always for something to go wrong. I was bracing to feel bad, because it had just been my life for so long, like for a solid year and a half at that point, or 2 years at that point. I was like, just like, okay, I don't know how to be normal anymore. I just feel like, and even when I start to relax, I get this like anxious feeling like if you're not careful, it's going to get worse again. So like just enjoy it, but like keep an eye out, sort of thing. And so I kind of could recognize like this isn't a completely healthy, and this is obviously thanks to our amazing therapist, Tim, who we
Tim
cannot
Long,
talk,
shout out to Tim Long,
our favorite person.
Literally. Other than you and my kids. And my mom, my sister, sorry. Then Tim.
Then Tim.
But then Tim.
For sure.
But just being able to process the trauma that kind of comes along with going through a difficult season, and being able to sort of name it and be able to say, okay, when I do feel better, and when I do, get out of this season, which I believe I will heal from it and I will get better, like, will I be able to just function like a normal human and move on? Or am I going to kind of keep emotionally attaching myself to the trauma, And so I think that's what that line is like. Am I going to know how to feel like a normal person once I'm outside of this? Because I don't even know what normal feels like, And so and I think, so that was kind of the point of that song, is like kind of reconnecting yourself before a trauma and after a trauma.
What I love about the song is that it's not an answer to anything.
It's not.
It's
no.
absolutely an in-process song. And the album, like the album cover is there's these two rays of light that we're not in. We're like outside of the spotlight, and it's after a party, and we're a little disheveled, and we're just sitting in the chairs. It's not like the joy of the party. It's not the anticipation of prepping. It's just like there's some cleaning to do, there's whatever, but we just got to sit down.
Yeah.
It's kind of the vibe. And I think with this song, what I love about the honesty in the song that she wrote, When the War is Over, is that it doesn't offer any solutions. And so often in therapy, we've learned it's not the answer that you're really looking for, it's the process. It's being able to walk the only way over or past something is through it. So this song is process, and I think it's beautiful.
I think this album is process, really.
Did Tim help you guys co-write this album?
He's not getting any percentage, so we have to answer carefully.
Exactly.
No, but for sure, the tools,
No.
I think, I grew up in a place where I always thought therapy was for broken people, for people that are just completely messed up and like they need to get fixed. We're all broken. I always thought therapy was for fixing people. Go to therapy and get fixed. But as we all know, if you only went to the doctor when you were sick, you'd only ever be able to treat symptoms. You'd never find a root cause because you're only seeing somebody who's super symptomatic and in their sickness. And therapy is like eating healthy. Therapy is changing all the things that lead to maybe a traumatic moment and processing past trauma. I think it's a key element to just being a healthy human.
But we started this album right at the kind of the beginning of me getting sick, and then at the same time as I was kind of like my health was getting worse, he kind of reached this point turning 40 going, am I the person that I really want to be? How do I picture myself moving forward in life? And so he kind of like was like, I need to get healthy. I'm going to therapy. So he was kind of on this trajectory of like healing and kind of, facing his trauma. I was actually just getting traumatized by my health at the same time. So poor Tim, had a lot of crossover. Poor Tim.
Poor Tim.
I mean, he should be able to buy a yacht at this point from just like
Just
Tim.
us.
Yeah, just from us. But yeah, so the album covers a lot of that. It's early in the process of this, like he was feeling really depressed. Like, we'd, again, after like, however many years of writing songs together and touring, and then kind of getting to this point of going, okay, we've had a lot of mountaintop moments and gotten to like, see a lot of dreams come true, but like what now? And like, what does it look like to succeed now? And
What does it look like if you believe all the best times are behind you?
yeah, what does that feel like? And
Wow.
so having, he was kind of processing this, and for the first time in our marriage, he wasn't the one going, everything's going to be awesome, because I'm more like, is everything okay? I tend to be the anxious one, and he's the one that's like, we got this, moving right along. And all of a sudden he was waking up every morning with this like look in his eye of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. And at some point we were able to name it like, oh, he's depressed.
Yeah,
like,
I used
he's
to not believe
depressed,
in motion sickness.
Thank you to Haya for sponsoring this portion of today's episode. If you're a parent to a toddler that has all of a sudden become a picky eater, you are not alone. And we've been seeing it more and more. We were in a rough patch there, but it's really nice because if you are also tired of battling your kids to eat their grains,
Eat their grains.
No. If you are also tired of battling your kids to eat their greens, Haya now has Kids Daily Greens and Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with 55-plus whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious, nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. So many children's vitamins are literally just candy in disguise with 5 grams of sugar and other gummy junk that kids just do not need. But that is why Haya is great. It's pediatrician approved. It's a super powered chewable vitamin formulated with the help of nutritional experts. It's pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals. And it comes in this amazing reusable glass jar that kids can decorate with their own little sticker pack.
It's pretty
really,
cute.
really cute.
It's really cute.
So we worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim the deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/unplanned. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/unplanned and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
I used to think motion sickness didn't exist. I remember driving a friend to a hike in Malibu that we love, that I'm sure is looking different these days. But driving a friend to this hike, and we were all together, and she's like, Abner, can you slow down? Like, I'm really feeling nauseous. And I was like, I kind of like internally rolled my eyes. I was like, what the hell? Like, this driving makes you nauseous?
Oh,
This
we
is
have to get
crazy.
there.
How else are we gonna? We're not gonna walk. Like, I mean, I guess I'll drive slower. It made no sense to me, and it always felt that way. And I know it's a ridiculous thing to think, but that's really what I thought about motion sickness. And then one day I felt motion sickness, and I had to stop everything. I was like, "Oh my god, what is this?"
I need to
Man,
get
it's
out
like
of the car.
motion sickness. I gotta get out of the car. I'm gonna puke.
Oh, really?
She's like, "This is my." I was like, "People feel this?" I'm so instantly just so much like repentance. So just like, I'm so sorry. I've treated people so poorly, and I kind of didn't know I felt this way, but I felt the same thing about depression. I thought depression was just a sign of a weak mind. I wouldn't have said that out loud.
Yeah.
But I think somewhere deep within me, I believe that.
Same.
So after like a year of waking up feeling like I had this heavy blanket on me, there would be days I would get up to go use the bathroom or something in the morning, and I'd take a couple steps like, oh, I feel kind of cool. Oh, maybe it's going to be, oh no, here it is. And it was like this unwelcome friend that was just always with me. And I just kept waiting to like right myself. I just got to throw my shoulders back and get after this thing, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And just like what we're talking about, there's not a moment of success that cures you of depression. It's a process. It's walking through something. And therapy, songwriting, an amazing wife, beautiful children was all a part of our process. And this album is, as Amanda was saying, kind of this moment in our lives that neither of us had ever experienced before. And we're writing from these moments in all these songs on the album. My journey through depression, Amanda's kind of health crisis.
Yeah.
I don't know, grown folk stuff, man.
Dude, well, the album is really good. Like, it's
Thank
really,
you.
really good. I think I might even like it more than your music that Abby used to play every day.
Let's go.
in our apartment.
How do you feel about it?
Dude, it's really good. And
It gave me chills.
Oh, yeah.
go.
Okay,
It
good.
gave
and
me chills.
I personally, sorry, I feel like you should talk more, because like these are your favorite.
Why do I
these
always do this? I just start listening
Sorry.
to everyone. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, oh,
Okay,
that's
I'm gonna say this, but then you should talk more, because like
Oh,
you,
gosh, no.
Abby's like way
We need to
smarter
hear
than me.
from Abby.
I want to hear from you.
Same.
I know you have a lot of good questions
I'm
in
a
there.
consumer. I'm just a viewer.
Yeah.
No, but we were listening to your album, and there was we listened to Monte Carlo, which was like, I was like, this one's really good. I was like, this might be my favorite one on the album.
Let's go.
And then we listened
his
to
favorite.
Psilocybin, and I was like, bro, what is this? Like, this is different. This is good. What is this? And I was like really listening to the lyrics and trying to figure out like the meaning of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That song
you-
specifically
It's
is
about my
his
depression journey.
No way.
Because you marry somebody and you're with them for so long, and you hear it all the time on like even movies or maybe Friends, whatever, of like, that's just not the man I married.
And that was always my worst nightmare.
Yes.
Like worst nightmare, because we're old enough now where we've been to a bunch of weddings, and we've seen the divorces, we've seen the babies, and we've seen the split homes. Like we've seen friends in life go through many different parts of the journey. And the nightmare for me was if I ever heard my wife say, "You're not the man I ever married," because that's it.
Aww.
That's a wrap, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not the man I married. But the fact of the matter is, we're all growing, we're all
all
changing. God
becoming.
forbid I'm the same person I was when I was 22.
Yeah.
Or 23. That'd be worse, that I would stay the man that you married. I'm meant to be better. I'm meant to go further. And so, but the worst nightmare scenario for me is, you're not the man I married. And then that's the beginning of the end. And here I was in my depression, which was absolutely not the man that I was when we got married.
Yeah.
And she wrote this song, Psilocybin, and then played it for me. And it's not like a love song by classic standards, but it's the most romantic song I can possibly imagine. Because what she says in the song is, it doesn't matter if you're different. If you're changing, I'll change too. Wherever you go, I'm going with you. I'm a mess. That's the song. That's what the song is about, and it's beautiful. It's my favorite song on the album.
That's really
Well, when I heard those lyrics, like, with like people changing in marriage, Abby and I, even you guys been together 20 years. You've been together only 8, but there's a lot of changing going on. Yeah, I guess, like, how did you come up with the name of the song? How did you come up with the lyrics?
Because
Yeah.
I did drugs. I'm not kidding.
Actually, that's actually a very interesting story. But when I wrote that, it was actually this company had sent us like microdose psilocybin, and which is like, and my midwife at the time was like, it's really good for you. It's really, because I had some like postpartum anxiety with our last daughter, where again, I thought I was going to die all the time. And so what they had said was like, psilocybin, imagine like a snowy hill, and you're sledding down the same like part of the hill every time.
Yep.
So there's a groove there, and that's how your mind works. There's a groove. So like if you've made a groove of anxiety, that's just where your mind's going to automatically go. And psilocybin, what it does to your brain, it basically is like a new layer of snow. So you can it allows you to creatively think in different things and form different pathways in your brain. And so, which we thought was really cool. And the ones that we had were like microdose, like
they don't get you high. It's not like a trip. It's just
no, you don't even notice it. It's like you notice it. Like I would take one and I would notice like that the next day, something that would normally stress me out, like organizing a kid's drawer, for example. Whereas normally I'm like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Like, look at all this clutter. I would look at it and be like, let me see. Oh, you know what? Maybe I can do something. Like all of a sudden I was just looking at things that would stress me out creatively and not with panic.
Yeah.
And so that's how I noticed it. But so,
and for me, like part of the tools, therapy being the key one, like spiritual growth, all that stuff was all the key elements, but also exercise is a key element for my mental health. And so I would microdose of psilocybin and I would go for a run. Yeah. And that would help me just like a fresh fallen snow, get out of my own way, help my mind to just see a little bit differently. And I would see it through, I would just do a microdose psilocybin and go run a 5K, and I'd come back and I'd feel pretty good and I would embrace it. And so she references it, and that was going to be the name of the album.
And then our management was like, maybe not.
Maybe drugs shouldn't be the
I really appreciate you guys being vulnerable and sharing that though, because I have heard that there are people that have PTSD. Maybe they were in a
100%.
war and they are really effed up from their traumatic experiences. And obviously, I don't think any of us have been to war here in this room. No. But people go through things in life that leave them effed up, that leave them depressed, that leave them in a space where like maybe it's a year or multiple years of like not feeling like the same person.
That's it, man.
No, trauma really locks up your brain. You know, trauma literally your brain does not function as well. Like it literally just locks it all down and makes it so that you're not like operating at like your thought processes are all different. And so psilocybin was something that we were lucky enough that we had, we lived in California where, things are a little bit easier to come across, and then this company was nice enough to like give it to a shout out to Silo. I don't even think you can buy it. I don't even know why I'm shouting them out, because it's like I think they have to.
This might all have to be redacted.
Is this on the black market? Like,
no, I actually don't know. I don't know.
No, Abby, it's not, because I was talking to a guy at an event he opened up to me about his depression. And I was asking him what helped his depression, because I went through. I was really, 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 really depressed for the first time in my life in 2024. And when you said that you used to think that people with depression were like weak or something, like I would have never said it, but I literally deep down I'd be like, man, they just need to suck it up, buttercup. I for the first time was like, holy F, this is horrible. This is horrible. Depression is horrible.
And you can't think your way out of it.
You can't logic your way out of it.
And so this guy is opening up to me and he's like, yeah, dude, I started microdosing on it wasn't psilocybin, but it was a type of, it's basically pretending to be psilocybin, but it's not, because it's I guess that portion of it is like legal in the US. They can sell it because it mimics what it is. Right. I'm not a scientist. I don't fully understand it.
We're all doing only legal things here.
No, but even with that conversation though, there is a lot of talk, because when I saw that title, I was like, that is awesome that they are being vulnerable about their life, because there's a lot of talk about legalizing that because of all the benefits it's showing for people with PTSD.
Sure. My midwife specifically was the one who first told us about it, Elizabeth Bachner.
We're shouting out everybody. Wow.
And because she was like, a lot of times like women are postpartum and then, they're breastfeeding and they can't take antidepressants and they can't take, and it messes up everything else. And so there needs to be, options that are natural, that are like not going to be dangerous for breastfeeding, that are not going to be whatever. And so she was like, this is what I recommend if you can get it, and microdose this, and this is a lot easier route, and it's okay for the all the stuff.
I gotta pee so bad.
Go pee. You're good. We'll just keep chatting about the name of your album that you guys completely changed. That's so cool though. I never would have thought that song was originally going to be the name, and then your manager was like, maybe dude, like the war's over or something.
I mean, we literally had a photo shoot for it and the whole thing, and it was like all bright colors and whatever. And they're like, we just feel like some people don't know what that is, and it's going to be a harder like leap for some people. And I was like very much like, nope, that's the name of it. And then I think it was our music director, Jonathan, who was like kind of always with us, was like there for part of the conversation backstage one day. And he was kind of like, well, what other names could there be? And he was like, When the War's Over. And I was like, ooh, actually that one's good. And I was like, okay, we changed it. We changed the name.
You win. I like it.
That's probably wise, just because like people to have this wide appeal, maybe that title is gonna have a larger appeal, but once people get into the album, they're gonna realize that there's a lot more to it than
Right.
just that song.
Right, exactly.
This
And
makes-
maybe they'll listen to this podcast and maybe this will help somebody. Maybe
Yeah.
someone who's like severely depressed right
Right.
now is going to realize, hey, maybe I need to try an alternative therapy
Right.
to help me get through this really awful time in my life.
Right. Yeah. And there and more places like clinics I know are doing it. I mean, he'll maybe talk about, he also did like a macrodose experience where we have a friend who studied at Johns Hopkins. And actually another big part of it is that we have another friend who's a musician who is like severely depressed.
Yeah.
And he went to Johns Hopkins and did a ketamine therapy. And he was always very quiet and like didn't talk much. And you can kind of tell he just was always kind of brooding. And all of a sudden we were playing a show with him and he came backstage and was like, oh my gosh, you guys, how are you? And he's like, I gotta tell you about my year. And we were like, I have never heard him talk this much or this like with this much excitement, like normally he's like quietly like, and he told us about this experience. And so we have a friend who studies psilocybin and like kind of assists people on their macro journey. So for his birthday.
Oh God, we're going there.
Well, we were just talking about how much it helps. I mean, you don't have to talk about it.
We can talk about whatever. This is who we are, baby.
He did a macro dose with with our friend who was like, what do you call it? What did she do? Moderated it.
Yeah, moderated.
Or,
Exactly.
whatever.
Like kind
she
of a
was,
guide, like not a guru, not like she wasn't a spiritual whatever. It was like a clinical, like taking notes, recording, making sure I felt safe, making sure I was safe, all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
It changed my life though. It changed my life.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
So one of the big things when we do a hero journey, I've never talked about this publicly. We're doing it.
I don't know. Do you want to, or is this weird for you guys?
No, yeah,
Okay.
I'm down.
Okay.
I love learning about
I'll
things
just
that
give you
help people.
one thing about it because I could talk about it literally all day. It was a beautiful, massively influential experience in my life. One of the things, there was months of prep for it. Therapeutic work, talking about what's the purpose that I'm doing it for, what's my worst nightmare that could happen while I'm there, what are like goals, I guess, or whatever. And my worst nightmare was that I would see my dad, who passed 13 years ago or so, and that he would tell me I'm a bad father. That's like, and that wasn't something I just came too quickly. That was like a deep-rooted, wow, like that's my worst nightmare. And then we had to decide because it's hours long and you're fully like in your body, you're fine. So like you got to go to the bathroom at some point. Do we want to cover the mirrors? Because sometimes people see themselves and they see things that they don't want to see, and it can be an impactful thing, maybe in a negative way. I was like, definitely cover the mirrors.
Okay,
whatever. All right, so I'm in the experience, and the first thing that happens is I'm behind a purple velvet curtain. And there's a bar on the other side, and all the sounds of a bar, and I just know.
How do you guys feel about profanity? Should we censor?
I can censor myself.
Can say it. Well, we just censor it out.
Beep it out. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Talk however.
This is crazy, y'all. You guys are getting like real deal.
Well, dude,
you started it.
The whole point of this podcast is called Unplanned.
Okay,
We want to have real conversations and
buckle
real connections. So I love that you're sharing this right now.
Buckle up. Behind the curtain, and I know it's God on the other side of the curtain with his homies, is how it made sense to me. And I hear God say, all right, I'm gonna bring my friend Abner in here and he's gonna freak out. And everybody laughs. Curtain opens. I feel like an arm around my shoulder. I don't see God, but I know he's next to me and he's kind of guiding me into the room in front of all his friends, his homies. And they're all kind of waiting. And I just start screaming, oh my God, holy crap, oh my God. And they all start laughing like, oh, God told us you were going to freak out. He called me his friend. And in real life, I'm just weeping because all it took was envisioning whatever's happening. I don't know, imagining, seeing it for real. I don't know the difference. God introducing me to people as his friend. This is my friend Abner, wrecked me. Hours go by, I got to go to the bathroom.
That's cool.
And I'm like, take the blankets off, take the towels off the mirror. I got to see myself.
Wow.
I walk in front of the mirror and I see me. Nothing magical, nothing crazy. I see me and I just start laughing and I start crying. And our friend who was kind of, the guide there, she goes, what do you see? What do you see? And I just pointed at myself. I said, I see God's friend.
Oh, dude,
That's
you're going to make me
God's
cry.
Yeah. And that was my experience and it changed my life forever. The idea that it's not I did mushrooms and I came out of it a much deeper believer and a much better Christian.
Wow.
Yeah. Like for real.
Thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring this episode. Abby is literally playing the game right now. She's actually been playing it since she was pregnant with our second child. I'll be straight up. I actually have never played the game, but Abby has played the game enough for the both of us. Why do you like June's Journey, babe?
Well, you just play it yourself, and I'll tell you.
I don't even know what to do right now. Do I touch the raccoon or the bird?
Neither. You have no. Look at the bottom. It says
paintbrush.
No,
Okay.
you're looking for a paintbrush in here. It's a hidden object mystery game, you guys.
So I look for the paintbrush.
It's set in the 1920s.
Can you help me out? I actually really suck at looking for stuff. Maybe
Honestly, get your husband these games, because if they have husband vision, they will learn to find things better.
I suck at finding. Abby's like, babe,
you
go.
have the rest of this ad read to try to find one of those things at the
Baby,
bottom.
I don't think I can find it. I suck at finding stuff.
Like I said, it's a hidden object mystery game. It was set in the 1920s. And basically, it follows the story of June Parker.
I got the berries.
Okay,
I got the
great.
berries.
In the quest to solve the murder of her sister and uncover her family's many secrets. You guys know
I got the
that
gloves.
I love a good mystery when it comes to books, even just true crime, movies. I love it all. And so it also
I got all three of them.
I
got all three of them.
I'm so happy for you, Matt. This game is also free to download. It's a mobile game. It's really...
I'm actually getting really good at this, babe.
You can customize, remodel, and fix your mansion and garden island. You progress through the story and discover new chapters, and can also take part in events to earn additional in-game prizes. There's so many things going on, and it's a beautiful game to look at. Lots of colors and
One left. Carved
details
initials.
going on. I enjoy playing a game to just turn my brain off. Social media turns my brain on.
Got
and
it, baby.
Puzzle games like this help me wind down at the end of the day, and it's way less overstimulating than social media. So it's a great thing to have to fill in those little gaps in your day that you don't want to just end up scrolling. So download June's Journey for free by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen. June's Journey is available on iOS and Android mobile devices, as well as on PC.
It's kind of beautiful how you clearly, and tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong, but you didn't view yourself as enough. And then you went into that experience and you heard God call you his friend. And then you knew you were enough.
You know, it wasn't even like a level thing. It wasn't like you're not enough, you're more, it's a who you are thing. It was more lateral.
Oh, okay.
It was like, you see yourself as this, but let me tell you what, bro.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how the king of the universe sees you. He sees you he introduces you to people as his friend. And that wasn't a this way thing, it was a this way thing. It was like, oh, measurements off. This is not who I'm going to be, not who I'm becoming, not something I can attain, not something I can lose. It's who I am is God's friend.
Wow.
And that's kind of
Tim Long
amazing.
and Psilocybin, my friends.
Oh, this is Tim.
No, it's not. It wasn't Tim.
Psilocybin.
I'm saying
Okay.
Tim and this, and life has changed.
Therapy with Tim was one thing, and then psilocybin was with another person that does that. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, it's not
educated.
like you went down some weird alleyway.
No,
No, I
it's
wouldn't
like
encourage anybody to do it without. Johns Hopkins studied some, you know.
That's very. Thank you
Dang,
for
y'all
sharing
getting
that.
hot.
No, thank you for being so vulnerable.
I don't cry, and I'm like, yesterday on the podcast we were filming, I almost started crying. Now I'm about to cry right now. I'm like, that's beautiful. I'm so happy for you,
man.
dude.
I think the
So
whole
happy for you.
what we do, we're 20 years into being together, almost. In October, it'll be 20 years being together. We make music together, and the temptation is to make music for the success of it.
Yeah.
I think competition's cool in sports. It's fun to see people compete and try to be their best. But the reality is life itself cannot be a competition, or else it becomes something else that's not life. And if we're going to live life, and if artistry, what we do, is the outflow of life, that's why we have to be honest in our music. Otherwise, it's not an outflow of our real life. Our art should be an outflow of who we are. And if at any point it's not honest, it becomes a competition, it becomes distorted. So if we can't have conversations like this or say the things in our music that we say in our music, then we're not doing what we're meant to be doing. Like the whole purpose of this life is lifting each other up. I had a friend today that said, let's not boil. There's, I'll say this politically, I'm in a stressed out state, I think. And he said, you know what, man, you can't let it boil you. We got to hold each other up. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Amanda, seeing the love of your life go through all that, how did you handle it? How did you handle it?
The journey and the psilocybin journey,
Or all of it, like the depression journey?
the whole journey.
All
Let's
of
go
it.
broad.
I know it's a huge question.
I was so proud of him because from the very beginning, like being able to recognize like I'm not okay, and to be able to say that is like one big step that I think a lot of people just don't even get to that step because they want to seem like everything's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I know plenty of people like that. We lost a friend to suicide a year ago. And that was basically what it was. It was like him telling everybody, I'm good. Everything's great. Everything's great. Look, our business is doing, everything's great. And then the next thing you know, he's gone. And, there was, layers of things going on. But like, getting to that first step of being able to go, I'm not okay and I think I need help is like amazing. So proud of that. And then he really just like flipped us. And he is of us two, he is the one that's very like, he's kind of an extremist, whereas like I'm gonna be mid, I'm gonna be consistently mid, and he might be like, I don't care, I really care, I don't care, I really care, and I'm like, I care the same all the time. But suddenly he was just like, you know what, I want to see my kids, I want to be able to play with my grandkids, I want to be healthy in here,
I realized I couldn't imagine myself old. I'd have to make it up in my head. I couldn't imagine myself at 80. And that was a problem for me. Like, I want to imagine myself playing with my grown grandkids, like big grandkids, being like, oh, Grandpa, you're an idiot. Like, I want to be able to have that. And this whole, that was part of the goal for the whole.
And so he lost 50 pounds. He was like, just actually did the work, stopped drinking, got off social media for like an extended period of time. Just was like making the hard choices to be healthy in all the ways and doing it in a way that was, the priorities were right? It was like spiritually, I want to make sure I'm healthy, emotionally, physically. And they were all stacked up on each other to where all of a sudden it was like, he went from being this, guy that would wake up and I would be like, are you happy? Is it me? Is it the kids? Like, what do we need to fix in our life? Is it too much work? Is it not enough work? Like, what are we doing that we have to fix this? And he just kind of went, nope, I got to do this. There's work I got to do. And so it was just like kind of like watching Extreme Home Makeover Husband Edition. It was like suddenly it was like, oh, there was a smile on his face. There's, he's beaming. Yeah. He's having fun again.
And you're like, wait, he's laughing.
Yeah. And it was like his true self. It wasn't because I think even before, like he was always the kind of happy-go-lucky guy, but I think he was covering a lot. Do you guys Enneagram people? Do you know about this?
We need to take the test.
We haven't. So you'll take the test, but he's like a classic 7, which is like, party, fun, everything's great. And a lot of times that's to cover trauma. And so for him, it was like he had to kind of like uncover all the trauma, which is, it's like getting all the gunk out. So it was like gunky for a while. But then that stuff is out and all of a sudden it's a truer version of the person that you married. And so you're like, oh, this is amazing. Like, this is the guy that I married, but like healthy, not just having fun because he's like, doesn't want to talk about the stuff that, he doesn't want to talk about, but like being truly who he is and coming into his own. So, it's like, not only for myself is it fun to watch, but I'm so happy that my kids have gotten to watch that too, Like, I think the emotional health of taking care of our emotional health and them watching that, even though our kids will use it against us, for example. They got into a fight. So can I tell the story? I want to tell the story from my perspective. Please do.
Please do.
Okay. So, we're on tour with our kids. It's crazy touring with kids because it's like there's moving pieces. There's 15 people on a small bus together all the time, like you can't poop on the bus. We know everybody's poop schedule. We know everybody's like, we know, it's like, it's a very close family.
It's very unglamorous.
It's not glamorous. And
like
so
we're grinding.
We're in Boston and we're in separate Ubers. So we're trying to go to dinner or something. And our son is like,
there was a street being named after her mom. We're going to celebrate Donna Summer Avenue in the south side of Boston.
So our son's like hitting him in the head with like his like Batman like doll toy or whatever,
action figure,
and he's like hitting him, and Abner's like, you gotta stop hitting me with that. And our son's like, oh yeah. And he's like, if you don't stop, I'm gonna throw it out the window. And he goes, so if I do this, you're gonna throw it out the window. And Abner just goes whoosh and throws it out the window.
Going down the highway.
Like, that thing is gone. So our son is very upset, right? And so he spends like the next hour. So we get out to see my mom's street. He like barely takes a picture because he's so upset. I'm trying to calm him down. We get back in the car to go to dinner, and he goes, so Dad, so you go to therapy, huh? Much good that's doing, or something like that's doing. But we're like, boom, roasted. But he'll say that every so often. He'll be like, so, like, what are you guys doing?
So what do you go to therapy for? It was deep. He's like, so you go to therapy? What do you go to therapy for? Because I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better husband, a better friend. He's like, that looks like it's doing a lot of good.
Yeah. Like, yikes.
I'm scared for that.
6 or 7 or
exactly. But overall, I mean, I love that our kids
followed through.
He followed through.
Yeah, I messed up by saying I was going to throw. I should have.
I looked at him and I was like, earlier. You could have just taken it. Just say, I'm going to take it away.
Oh yeah.
You could have just taken it away.
Listen,
and been like, when you chill out, I'll give it back to you.
So I did.
Yeah, he's nothing if not consistent. But it is great to see that your kids can like see the process of it too. That your parents are human and that there's growth to be had. I mean, I think our son, during the fires last week, I think at some point he was like, I might need to go talk to somebody about my feelings about this, because it was very stressful for our kids. And the fact that he could come up and just say, hey, I think I might want to talk to somebody. I'm like,
oh, I love that.
Great. Like, let's,
because I was raised not by my family, but my environment. That's a sign of weakness for a man, for a Christian, for all that stuff, when really it's not. Abby, what are you most disappointed in about us right now?
Yeah, tell me.
Disappointed?
Yeah, how are we letting you down right now? The most.
Are we talking too much?
No, I'm just fascinated. I'm sitting here wondering, like, anytime during, like, this evolution in your life and your marriage, like, was there anyone in your circle or your community that gave you bad advice?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Great question.
All the time. I think we get bad advice constantly, honestly.
Okay.
But I think you forget it a lot because like that doesn't.
Remember, yeah.
Yeah, there's some bad advice. What's some of the worst advice? Some of the worst advice was early in our marriage.
Oh.
And it was constantly, marriage is hard. The first year is going to be the hardest year.
Yeah,
and that could be true for people. I think people trauma dump on you and they consider it wisdom.
Yeah.
And so I think most bad advice comes in the extrapolation of your experience and demanding, because you need it to feel normal, demanding that that's going to be my experience.
And it's like you just opened up about how psilocybin made you, I would say, made you a better father, made you a better man.
Yeah.
But things in life aren't a one size fits all. So someone's saying, oh, the first year is so hard. Like, maybe that was true for you, but not for someone else.
Exactly right.
And so I think you can't have a one size fits all approach to life.
Right. Exactly right. My mom gave me wedding night advice.
God.
She sure did.
And so that was a horrible experience.
Now we got to know. You have to say it. What happened?
She was like, we're Christian kids, right? Like, we're Christian kids. So they're, we grew up in the saving it for marriage thing and all that stuff. She's like, no, listen, Abner. She's a good Christian girl, so before you go in there and do the deed, you gotta warm her up.
Foreplay
and I was
talk.
like, what are you talking about? And she was, well, before you have sex with her, you need to just mother.
Yeah.
Stop.
Please don't.
And maybe never speak again.
I think your mouth is done talking forever.
I think your mouth is done all it needs to. The speaking is done forever.
Bro, we did premarital counseling. We had someone tell us well, I'll tell you like how to do it when it's time. And like, I don't think we need to know how to do it, man. Like, I think we kind of know how this works. I think you got this. I know we've never done it. We got this figured out, man.
Listen, I had somebody be like, who was it? Somebody pulled me aside and said, I know you want to be I know you're a good girl, but for him, you're going to have to be slutty sometimes. And I was like, all right. And I was literally just like, what are we talking? Why?
I think the marriage thing is
like,
tough.
what are we talking about? Why are you telling me this?
I think when people ask us for advice in their marriage, because we get put in that position because we're a married couple that people like our love songs, right? People want to know like the advice, and that's a really hard thing to do because we've gotten so much bad advice. And honestly, man, like your dad has this advice he gives us for music and performance. If it's not alive, it's not live. Yeah. Like, you got to constantly be alive with this thing. And I think that's the best advice I can give for marriage. If it's not alive, it's not live, man. Like, you got to ride with it. Things are moving. It's gumbo. We're making gumbo. Constantly checking that flavor. Is there too much salt? Is there not enough sauce? Is there not enough whatever? This thing is moving. It's changing. It's constant. And the moment you think you can just set it and forget it, then you messed up.
Yeah. I think all the, the bad advice that we've gotten has all been well-meaning, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's always well-meaning, but
and I think it probably served a purpose too.
Sure.
Like, it helps set back, okay, that's not for us, and it's good to know. Right. It's good to know that's not for us I'm not going to live my marriage thinking marriage is hard. It doesn't resonate. And I think people mean different things when they say marriage is hard, because sharing your life with someone forever isn't maybe the simplest thing, and I get that. But man, if we weren't meant for it, you know what I mean?
Well, what's beautiful about it is you share your life with someone forever. And I maybe this is like the most unromantic thing I've ever said, but I don't believe in soulmates, dude. I just don't. I believe in figuring out how to love the person that you chose well.
Yeah.
And the more that I've gotten to know Abby and the more that she's gotten to know me and be together for 8+ years. Now I'm better. I would say I'm a better partner for you, I think. And you're a better partner for me.
She's like,
because we became each other's soulmates. You become the soulmate. You don't marry the soulmate. You become the soulmate.
Whatever it is, there's always a process. Even if you were meant to be and it was always in the stars forever, that's not the whole answer to the equation. You know what I mean? Like you have to
Totally.
constantly be working at it. You constantly have to be growing together. Have to.
I wish I could read your journal because I feel like when you were saying that you wrote those lyrics, you're like, this be a journal thing? I'm like, I feel like our journals probably look a little different. Like yours is probably like artistic, deep, thoughtful.
You know, what's funny is that in the moment of writing things, it never feels that way. It's just like, bleh. But the other day I found a journal from January 1st of last year, and I was like, well, how poetic was I in my journal writing? I read it and was like, I don't remember writing this.
Who was I writing this for?
Yeah, who was I writing this for?
I think we all think we're Hemingway, and at some point somebody's gonna find our journals out long after we're gone. We're gonna be in a museum somewhere.
No, I think mine is like rough. It's like I went to Trader Joe's with the kids. Like,
Hey,
That's dope.
which
though.
by the way,
That's a bar. That's
Yeah,
a bar.
exactly.
For real, I went to Trader Joe's with the
Every
kids. That
day.
was rough. Yeah, that's a bar.
no, that's really cool. I
That's-
feel like y'all are awesome.
Who are you in your head when you're like monologuing? Is that just a songwriter question?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like when you're monologuing, like when you really like you close your eyes and you feel like you're delivering a speech.
You're Hemingway?
I'm Hemingway, yeah,
Oh
all
my
day.
God.
But not Hemingway actually. The actor that played Hemingway in Midnight in Paris. I'm specifically that version of
haven't seen
Hemingway.
Oh, you should watch it. It's
Matt,
so
who
good.
are you in your head?
I don't.
Or do you
I don't
remind
know.
yourself of anybody when you?
No,
I've
I
never
don't-
even
No,
thought
Matt's
this
head is
before.
very unique. It's
I have a weird. I'm.
I think you have a few personalities.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one, Abby?
I like
Do you like Hyper Matt?
Hyper Matt is fun, but I feel like certain times of the day.
Because other times we need sleepy Matt.
And like I like thoughtful Matt, but sometimes he's way too deep for me, and I just can't.
I'm like,
I'm tired.
Sometimes I'll go up to Abby, babe.
This is
What
the
makes you
most-
feel purpose of
most
the
common
things in your
question
day?
is like, when do you feel the most alive? I'm like curling my hair. I'm like, babe.
I don't know, man.
Right now is great.
right now. Like,
The answer is
then,
now. Next.
Like, yeah.
No idea.
So no, I like it when we're like broing out. You know what I mean?
yeah, broing out.
I was
Yeah.
watching Mr. Beast last night.
So yeah, watching Mr. Beast videos together,
Let's
yo.
go.
Drinking Prime, yo.
That was fun. That was a good one.
I love
That's
it.
funny.
What's your favorite of my multiple personalities?
The one that brings me snacks and coffee in the morning.
That's
You
true.
guys are the same person, by the way. You're the
You're
same.
saying you're like,
You guys are so
he's
steady.
extreme.
Yeah.
and
We
I-
are wackos.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
But do you feel like
Embrace
you
it.
were like that, or
Embrace
you're
it.
like that because you're in a relationship with him? I'm always dissecting that in my brain. I'm like, is that me, or is that because I'm balancing Matt Howard?
Oh,
That's
that's
a great
interesting.
question.
I think I was always like that. My parents used to find me as a kid just sleeping on the floor, and I'd be like, I'm tired, man. I'm gonna go to bed. And that's kind of still my
What were your
personality.
first words?
My first full sentence that my parents were like shocked by, because I was like very quiet as a kid and I was very introverted. And they would, at some point my mom was like, Amanda, go, let's go get ice cream with your cousins or whatever. And I was like, no. And she was like, come on, it's ice cream, blah, blah. And like I again hadn't said a full sentence. And I just looked at her and said, I know my own mind. And she was like, oh, okay. And that's kind of still the thing. I'm very easygoing, but I will tell you if I want something or don't want something.
A hard no from Amanda.
Is a hard no.
That is a brick wall. You've met the center of the earth. You're going
Yeah.
nowhere. That is the hard mantle surface. A no from Amanda is an absolute no.
Yeah. So I feel like it is my personality to kind of be like, that is my personality. I don't think I've been I've bent to him. I think we've both been to each other, obviously. Like,
Sure.
I think I do more. Because he pulled me out of, like, I was so shy. Like, when we first started playing shows together, I would go hide in the car after because I was so, it was
one
such a
time we played a show in
vulnerability
Shorter Car and
hangover, like being in front of people singing, and it was like friends and people I knew, and it was like I would do it and then I would just go hide and like cry for an hour because it was like, it was just
a
not
lot.
my personality to like be out there. And he'd be like, you can do it, come on. So he really like has, I would sit in sweatpants eating snacks for like the large majority of my life, writing in my journal if I could, and he like helps me get out, and then I help him get to bed on time.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Vegetables,
And eat his vegetables.
She did mess up by getting me a gaming computer for Christmas, so
Yeah.
my sleep time has gone later.
Do you guys go to bed at the same time?
That's a good question.
I think best
Tell
case.
them the answer, babe.
No.
Babe,
but
be honest.
Seasonally, it depends. Right now, we're not because she got me a gaming computer for Christmas.
It depends
So
on
messed me
if
up.
he's playing a game with his buddies or not, because they like to get online and play together. And because of time zones, it always works out that it's like after the kids go to bed, he's playing video games.
Yeah.
So he goes through seasons where he plays video games, and I, poor thing, go to bed by myself and go, okay, I'm going to bed. And then once he's over that season, then we go to bed together every
Okay.
night. And then he goes, oh, why did I not do this? Is so nice. It's so nice to go to bed and cuddle and like I get like full amounts of sleep. Like this is great. I'm
I
not
sleep way
staring at
better
a
when I'm
computer.
not playing video games. It's a
and I'm
fact.
like, yeah, dog.
Yeah.
But you know, I gotta let him have his fun bro out. video
Sometimes
game
it
time.
is nice when your husband is occupied though, because I feel like I'm like, great, everybody, the kids are asleep. He's got an
Yeah.
activity. Like, what's
I
it
could
like,
just, like-
to just be me right now?
Oh, that's
Because
100%.
like I never am. I actually told him I was like, I'm like very rarely alone.
Yeah.
But like tonight, you're hanging out with people, and I'm gonna put the kids to bed.
Right.
And I'm gonna be like,
I'm gonna meet
I'm
me
gonna
again.
read my book by myself.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
what
a
are you
crazy.
reading?
Yeah.
I'm reading a couple books.
Tell me.
but I'm reading a book called Hello Stranger. It's
Okay.
just like
Hello,
a
Stranger.
light romantic.
What's the
book.
most embarrassing book that you're reading?
Other than Fourth Wing.
I'm only reading 3 books.
Okay.
I can't say any of them are embarrassing. Probably Hello Stranger.
Oh,
but
yeah?
I mean,
Okay.
it's just like a little rom-com.
Oh yeah.
We're
Okay.
reading-
No, you
The
read a
Fourth
book
Wing
with all of your.
series?
Oh, sorry.
Wait.
Did you read Fourth Wing?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I heard that it
love
was
it.
kind of like
Someone recommended
creepy.
it to me. Should I read it?
I mean, no.
Listen,
I think it's like horny teenagers.
it is horny teenagers,
It
and
is
that's
horny
what makes
teenagers
it
with
amazing.
dragons. Yeah.
So it
I was
started.
like, we'll be reading. I'll be like, babe, you get to page 230 yet?
Oh, that's cute.
I
That you're
said,
reading it
put
together.
a towel down, girl.
It is raunchy, but it's
my
also
Lord.
like a great story.
Yeah.
And it's not raunchy the whole time. Like there's definitely
when
like
it's raunchy.
sections. When it's raunchy, it's raunchy.
No.
Wow.
I read a very, very embarrassingly raunchy
Yeah.
book. It's called Butcher and Blackbird.
Oh.
There's
I don't
like
know
a
it.
30-page section there
Yeah.
that I was like, I was on an airplane and I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abby likes to read out loud, so I'm in bed. I'm like, what is she saying right
she
now?
reading?
when
You're
Matt
like-
went to bed at the same time as me,
Yeah.
I would read out loud to him. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That is
Like, this
really
is- this
crazy.
is
I'm
what
like,
we're reading.
I don't read books like this all the time, Matt. He's like,
Yeah. He's like, sure,
what's
you
going on
know.
on your Kindle right now?
What's
Well,
the
yeah.
what's the what book are you reading that you're like getting the most out of? Either like
Well,
Hello,
I'm
Stranger.
reading. This is very out of character for me, but he was on our podcast actually. Ramiz's
yeah,
book.
Ramit.
It's
Ramit.
about having
Oh.
financial conversations with your spouse.
Oh,
Yes.
that's cool.
Matt
Yeah.
and I don't really talk about money ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he starts talking about it, I'm like,
It really stresses Abby out.
It
Yeah.
really,
So I'll be like, we
Let's
spent
just
this
not-
much money last
me
month, and she's
too.
like, we
not
spent
cute.
how much money? We're
Yeah.
gonna die.
here, I'm
Everything's
like,
like,
immediately
Yeah.
I'm like, we're never eating out again. Like,
Yeah.
I will cook at home. We will
I'm
shop at
deleting the
Aldi, chicken
Amazon app.
breasts and rice only. And
That's
like
me.
he's like, don't freak out.
And then anytime he spends money, one of our first big fights when we first got married, we were so broke, and we went to the movie. Somebody gave us a gift card, and I was like, "Just buy one thing of popcorn." And he got popcorn and a large drink, and I was like,
She was so mad, bro.
What are you doing
Shit,
buying
that's
a
a
large
five.
drink?
Back in the day, it was $5. That's $5.
Like, it's fine. I could make us a meal at Trader Joe's for $5. He was
I
like, "Babe,
love-
it's $5. Like, it's fine." And I was like, "No, it's not."
I love that Donna raised you right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she did.
That's
No.
true.
It's
No.
actually, it wasn't my mom. It was my grandmother, who is very fiscally, financially sound, and like kind of actually over the top, where we had to save our money and we had bank accounts,
It's
and she would
that
get us like,
generation.
that generation. And so I
I had
still have like
$14 on our wedding day.
40.
$40.
40. I had $40.
Yeah, $40.
total. No
$40.
bank account. I don't think I had a bank account when we got married.
I
Wait,
think you
actually?
opened one right
Well, that was
after.
poor
Yeah.
boy. I didn't have a bank account. I didn't have a checking account. I didn't have a check card. My wallet was a license.
Wait,
Yeah.
how did you learn like financial literacy?
Right?
Wait, did you like read books or like what did you do?
So what happens is
Yeah.
that like you
Marry somebody that's got it together, I guess.
you marry somebody who can like make sure that things don't get wild, and then you get to a point in your career where you hire somebody to do it,
Nice.
and then they can
and then
call
monthly,
you.
they're like, this was the damage. This is what you're doing. This is what can be
And
fixed.
I hate being on those calls. I'm like, can I please not be on that call? Just tell me I have to stop
I
spending
feel
money.
like I don't eat for a day after
Just
that.
tell me I
Wait,
have
okay.
to stop.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't. I just.
We have a great business manager. Shout out Caleb C. Everybody's gonna shout out.
Everybody's gonna
But are
shut
these
up.
people paid like a flat rate or is it like a percentage?
They make decent money, yeah.
There's different ways of skinning the cat.
yeah,
but
there's
yeah.
different ways. It depends. That would be
Gotcha.
different for each people.
But
Want that
especially
differently.
the hard thing about it for us is that whenever you're touring, if you sell merch sales, you're basically operating a business in different states with different laws and different tax codes.
yeah.
So it got to a point where we were going to
Not
H&R
basically,
Block and going, okay, well, this is a show we did in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and the guy at H&R
and we
Block
have
was
to
like, I
pay-
don't know how to help you.
Yeah, and so
I don't know how to
it
do
got
it.
to the point where we like had to have somebody
Yeah.
help us. And also like, we were touring. and we were,
I'm on a budget like I'm 16. Like I have a budget on my debit card, a budget on my credit card.
and we still are bad.
We're still not great, but it's been the most helpful thing ever. We got in debt because I didn't have financial literacy, and we really did like I could say cheesy, but we were in a bunch of debt, credit card debt and all that stuff. And we started doing Dave Ramsey.
No way.
And it was the Dave Ramsey method, the cash system that got us out
Which
of...
I think was a lot easier to do when we were first married because...
Well, we didn't have a business, too.
Well, we didn't have a business, but also like now it's like everything like, you know, everything's on card now. It's like so hard. Like and online shopping, like online shopping wasn't... Like there wasn't Amazon, you know what I mean? So now every time it's like, oh, we can go back to the cash system, like, and I'm gonna give Jeff
But the cash
Bezos
system
my
established
cash.
how we still do business, how we still run our house is based off what we learned in the cash system because it got us out of big trouble.
How we still should run our house.
It's how we do run our house in our minds,
in my heart.
Who's the spindy one? So it's you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I buy things, they show up at the house. I'm like, oh, like I read jokes about guys like, man, my wife got on Amazon and blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, that's not our life.
No.
Like, box will show up at the house. I'm like, babe, don't look over here for just 10 minutes. Let me clean it up and see what I'm giving back. I can return this still.
I'm going to return this.
I will, like, think about a pair of shoes or, like, I'll be like, okay, I bought a pair of sneakers a year and a half ago. The soles are okay. I probably don't need these. And he's like, babe, you like the shoes, just get the shoes. And I'm like, I don't know that I am. I'll wait for Christmas. And he's like, buy the shoes. I would have bought 3 pairs already. And I'm like, I know. And that's why I'm scared to buy shoes.
you cut out one shoes.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it
I was like,
comes
Zara
to the
had
kids,
a sale. I went off.
when it comes to the kids, are you the spindy one or
No.
That's for me. Like if I'm like,
Bro, Abby, our kids so many gifts for Christmas.
No,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we
I
had
tried
to
to be
return. I was
smart.
like, babe, like, I don't know if we have space for this
Yeah.
last one. I was
Yeah.
like, I know it's
they
still in the
literally
box.
opened it on Christmas morning, and Matt's like, I think we should return that.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
smart. Like, this year was kind of a big wake-up call for me with the kids. I did it too much.
Yeah, I think so. Like because a couple years ago, I also realized that it's not just us. Like we buy the kids however many presents. They're getting presents from their aunts and their
Oh, yeah,
uncles
yeah.
and you know random family members and friends and whatever. So like they're opening so many presents on Christmas morning and they're not really enjoying it. And I think at first when they were really little, it was like, okay, but they're playing with it and I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it was when I started to see them like open something and then just be like, you
It's
know,
like,
and then
it's
be
too
like,
much.
can we have screen time now? And I was like, you just
Oh.
opened like how many presents? And you're asking, like, what are you talking about?
Like, I grew up in a house where like nonprofit organizations supplied our Christmas gifts,
Yeah.
like for real.
So he likes to
like a
like
church,
have fun
somebody
getting
would come
presents.
over and they would like be like, "Here's your Bible and your basketball," and that was my Christmas, and it was amazing. I'm like, "It's a basketball and
Yeah.
a Bible."
That's really sweet.
Like, whatever,
Yeah.
And so it's like the definitely Rich Dad Poor Dad situation. You familiar
Yeah,
with the
great book. I love
yeah,
that book.
definitely that's my battle. Definitely like growing up in poverty, growing up super broke, being like Christmas just needs to be Kevin McAllister in New York City.
So
every year.
I will plan. I'll be like, okay, this is what each
Home Alone
kid
2
wants.
reference. I don't know.
Here is, here's the budget. I'll have like a budget for each kid. The whole thing. How many presents each of them get. I'll have them all organized. And then he'll like boxes will start coming. Be like, I got them this and I got them this and I went to the store and I got them this.
You're
and
like,
I'm
what about the spreadsheet?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really planned all this. But whatever.
It's fun.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for opening up.
I could do this forever.
about, about your album.
Right now, stop what you're doing because this episode is over and go stream The War is Over.
When the war is over. Yeah.
When the War is Over by Johnnyswim, you guys. The album is seriously, I would say it's like, you're not going to have heard something like this. Like,
Yep.
it's very, very creative. You can definitely tell that passion produced this music. And it literally gave me chills, and I can't wait to continue to listen to it on repeat.
And we got-
Yeah.
yeah, I can't believe you guys allowed us to listen to this before it's even
I felt so
released.
special.
Let's go.
I feel very
I'm
honored.
so excited.
No, but now that I know the whole story behind at least part of the album,
Yeah.
I love it even more.
Oh,
So thank
truly,
you.
truly.
Yes, go stream
Yay.
it. Go follow them on socials. Go follow them on Spotify. Where do you want people to follow you guys?
Who
Man,
knows?
at home. We live in Burbank, California. Come find me.
Go follow them to their house in Burbank. Actually, don't do that. That's
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Don't
Unless
look
you
at
bring me
pictures.
We live in
snacks.
Anaheim. Anaheim. Sorry, Anaheim, California.
Yeah, go follow them like Abner followed Amanda and
Yes.
put computer pictures
Actually,
on.
exactly like that. Please do.
Actually,
Johnnyswim
and go
on
see us on
Instagram,
tour.
on
Oh,
everything.
yeah, the tour.
Yes,
We're
tour.
so
Buy
excited.
tickets.
March,
Come see
yes,
us.
March, we'll be back here.
All
Yes.
over America.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
to
we're
come.
playing Phoenix
Yeah,
in March.
absolutely. You guys will be our guests.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm
Please be
excited
our
to go
guest.
see them
I'm
in concert.
stoked.
Let's go.
Yay.
Well, thank you guys
Date
for
night.
watching and have a good day. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.